Hello everyone, welcome to Lighthouse Stamping with Lorraine. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Vancouver, Washington. Thank you for joining me today. Before we get started, a few happy housekeeping notes. All the products I'm using and all the dimensions will be listed below. There's a link to my online store if you'd like to purchase any of these Stampin' Up! Products. There's my email address if you have any questions. Also, there's a link to our Facebook group. We'd love to have you join that. And finally, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel and help me grow in YouTube world. So today we're going to play with inked and tiled, but we're going to use a little bit of Petal Park because I need some flowers. More flowers than in this. You'll see why in a minute. So let me set these aside and let me show you what we are making. We are making a little treat bag or a little gift bag. It can hold some candy, hold some jewelry, lots of little things, or little things coming in small packages. So this is the little box or bag we're making today. We'll call it a bag. So let me show you what we're using. The paper we're using is Inked Botanicals, and I've showed the paper before. We're going to use the same color as we used the first time, so you'll need 2 sheets of paper, 2 sides 6x6. But like I said, I wanted to thumb through here really quick and just give you a quick look at this again. This paper is so, when I first seen it, I'm like, I'm not sure I'm going to like this paper. And I've actually fallen in love with it. I think it's so beautiful. Love this one really well. So, and the back sides are equally as nice. So that's a lot of fun. That one looks like rain on a stormy night to me. So we're using Inked Botanicals. So you're going to need 2 pieces of 6x6. We're no cutting on this one at this point. So what we're going to do first is we're going to do some scoring. And I am going to be using my scoreboard. First off, if your paper is directional, make sure your direction is going up. In this particular one, you're also going to want to pay attention to what your back side looks like. So sometimes I picked out, let me pick another one I found. Hang on here. I found one in here that I would never think about using together. This one. This one wasn't this directional this way, more or less, but when I put this over, it just didn't do it for me. So just look at the paper and see when you got it folded over top, that it's something you like both sides of. That's the big thing you need to remember on these. So, putting this in here, and we are going to score at the top along the 6-inch side. They're both 6 inches, so I'm going to call this the top 6-inch. You're going to score at 4 and 5.5. You're going to rotate it so your small little 5.5 tab is at the bottom. You're going to score at 1.5, and then you're going to take your paper and flip it straight over, don't turn it, and score at 5. Like I said, all the dimensions are going to be there, but we got to do it one more time. So along the top, make sure it's going the right direction. We are going to score at 4, 5.5, rotate, 1.5, flip it over, and 5. Like I said, it's pretty easy. Now, if you had a 6x6 paper, or a 12x12 sheet, you'd want it 6 inches high, and what you would do is deduct 1/2 inch. So you would cut it down to 11.5. And then basically figure out where your same score lines would be. So in this case, if we were coming along here, we would be scoring at 4 and 5.5. We still score at 5.5. We just wouldn't be having this extra tab. Okay? And then, so the tab would be covered up, so we'd score there. And then you'd be scoring at 9.5 and 11. So you can use a 12 or you can use 2 6x6. You just have to deduct one tab. I'd throw that out there. So let's burnish everything. So let's do our piece that's folding over first. And make sure we get that one going the right direction. I liked when I have ones that come over the top. I like to do that one first so I know that I've not grabbed the wrong one. They are a 1/2 inch difference in size, so I'll open that back up and that one. Put these in. And this one. Okay, that's where we're at so far. Next, we got to do some trimming. So let's start at the top here. There's this little square right here, because this is the piece that comes down. So talk about this little square here. You want to cut into that, cut at the line, and cut right on the line. Do not wedge this one in. This one is straight on the line. And this one, you are going to wedge it ever so slightly, maybe 1/8 of an inch, if that, 1/16. Tiny. Down here, this one, we're going to remove this one as well. This one can have a little bare wedge if you want. And we're going to cut up on this one. Now we do need to, there's another one here. So you've got a large rectangle and a square. We're going to cut up on the square here. And then we're going to cut into the square slightly. Just so the bag closes nice and neat. So this is what we have so far. And this is the piece that's going to fold over. Okay? Then we need to do it one more time. So I'll do the top. And the bottom. You notice I'm doing the shortcut method where I'm doing my wedging at the same time, which you can do too. It's just whatever you've gotten used to doing. So now we have 2 pieces, like that. Now we need our tear and tape, which mine has gotten buried over here. And we're going to put some tear and tape on the top piece that's folding in. You could use glue or Seal Plus if you wanted. But I like using tear and tape on bags. On some parts I use glue. So we'll work on both pieces as we go here. So push that one down. And push that one down. Then we have these 2 tabs to work with next. And we'll put tear and tape on those. And tear and tape on this one. Just like that. Okay, so what's going to happen is this one is going to go right, and you're going to put it right along the seam right here. So you're going to line up this seam and this seam here. So it's basically you're lining up here, here, and there. And I try to hover over the top and get everything as lined up as possible before I press and commit, because with tear and tape, as you well know, it's not very forgiving. Pretty good. Once you fold it in half, you'll know if you did well or not. Okay, and then I'm going to fold this one back, and now you're going to have to give this an extra burnish right here. And while we're doing that, let's go ahead and do the other side, because it's not been folded with the other piece. So we're going to set this piece in here like this with our tab, and we're going to bring this tab over like this, and it should line up perfectly, which it does. Now, normally at this point, we'd ask ourselves, what's the front or back of the bag? It doesn't matter if they're the same. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my glue and put some glue on here and some glue on here and put this first one down. But you do want to make sure it is nice and square on the corners. Then I'm going to put some glue on this last piece. Put it down. Got wiggle room on this, so make sure that everybody's nice and square. Do a little rub. Then I'm going to flip it over and grab my bone folder and give this a little rub from the inside. Just like that. At this point, you do have to decide what's going to be your front or back. And I think I'm going to go this is the front. So I'm just going to pinch these two right here. Just right where the crease is. One popped out, one didn't. And it'll depend on how much it buckles here on the sides. Will depend on what you have in here. So if you pile a bunch of stuff in here, let's see what will fit in here. Glue will fit in here. We'll put 2 glues in here and see what it does. I think you get 2 in here. Not going to get 2 glues, too much. 1 glue. But with the glue in here, it's not buckling as bad. It varies. Glue's almost maybe a little too big. But once you fill this up, it'll stay all pushed out. That's what I want to say. Like that. Okay, you're going to need a pair of paper punch, hole punch. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hole punch just on the other side of this piece here. And I'm going to come in here. So I don't want to go through all 4. I just want to go through 2, not 8. Is what it is. About halfway down. And if you have a crocodile or a big one, you could use it too. I do, but this was much easier to reach in my punch box to grab this. So we got 2 holes there. So we're going to use some ribbon. We are going to use, this is the dual pack, and we're using this one because it has Petal Pink in it, and this is Petal Pink in here. And I'm going to grab my stylus. Stylus works great for this. We're putting in ribbon. Like I said, lots of uses for tools. Now I make sure I leave enough to do a nice bow, which I think this might be enough. And I want to grab a clip. I have all kinds of clips. This is a very large clip with a piece of ribbon still on it, which really doesn't need to be there. It's just in my way. But yeah, clips, small clips, big clips, they work really nice as, hang on here, I'll get my ribbon a little straighter before I put my clip on. When you're tying a bow or something and you need another pair of hands, this works really good. Okay. Just like that. I want it I'm gonna have to pull this off. Now I got it on there. I want it snug, but not too snug. Now the other bow I tied just came across without any problems. That looks awful. Let me try this again. Like I said, the other bow I made, I just tied it, didn't even think about it, and it just happened. This one, I'm thinking about it, and I'm filming, and it's not happening. I tied my ribbon too small is what's happened. So you know what I'm going to do? I will save that piece of ribbon for later. I did not leave enough ribbon, and that's why I cannot tie a bow. When you're trying to save on ribbon, guess what happens? But that will fit on something else. Don't worry. Okay. Need a much bigger piece of ribbon. Now, are you guys all laughing? Yeah, you should be. You know, this is what happens. Lori makes mistakes all the time. I'm not going to put the clamp back on it. We're almost there. Let me do a tiny bit of fiddling. It's a little long on one side. I think I could live with that. I hope you can. Sorry about that. So then I thought, what do I want to decorate with this with? So I grabbed the Tailor made tags. I love these tags. And I grabbed the third one in with the curved bottom and cut it out of Very Vanilla. And if I cut extras, I leave them right in the package, so I already have them. So we did that one. Then I thought I needed to do some stamping on this, so I didn't grab out my stamp. That wasn't very smart of me. So let me grab my stamp and a scratch pad and a block. Like I said, I did not grab out everything I needed. There we go. And I'm going to use Lost Lagoon. And I'm going to stamp off one time. I'm just going to sort of go across this and about like that. I just want a light background of some leafage. And then I'm going to grab my saying, which says, "Hello, friend." And I'm going to put this at an angle up here in the corner. And this is full strength Lost Lagoon. So now we've got that. Then I put that all on there and I thought, no. It needs something else. It needs some more. It needs some pink. That's where Petal Park come in. I grabbed this is the outline set of the Petal Parks. I wanted it to have some little texture in it. And I grabbed a scrap of Petal Pink, literally a scrap of Petal Pink. And I'm going to look, before I do this, I'm looking to see how the punch is laid out before I stamp my flowers with a stamping mat underneath. And then we could just line it up. And punch them out. So we have our 3 petals here. And I knew I was going to stack them up and to make a flower, and then I thought, no, I need a center for my flower. So I grabbed the iridescent pearls, and I grabbed, which one was this? Calypso Coral Dark. And I'm just going to take the side of this. I'm not pressing hard on my nib. And I'm coloring this with dark Calypso coral. And I'm going to let that sit for just a second while we're putting the rest of it together. So my flowers, I did have a sponge around here that I could put these on, but it's disappeared. So I'm just going to curl these up with my fingers, or you could press them into your palm of your hand like this. That works really quite well too. Or you could use the end of your, put it in the palm of your hand, take the end of your glue, just to pop them up just a little bit. And I'm going to grab a glue dot. And you could go straight to the glue dot if yours are not as sticky as mine are. Mine are really sticky. I like sticky, but these are really sticky. And one in the bottom. Put this on the bottom there. And I'm just offsetting these flowers ever so slightly. If you didn't want to stamp them, you didn't have to, but I like having a little stamp in there. And then I'm going to grab another glue dot. Oop. It was stuck to me now. Right in there. I can fluff these up a little more if I wanted. And grab that iridescent pearl to go right in the center of our flowers. So there's our little tag, almost. I needed some twine on there. This is the Baker's Essential Pack, and there is a very vanilla twine in here. Right here. Figure about how much you want your twine to be out. Just make a loop. Going to go through the front. And like I said, use your stylist. Works really well for that. I'll put it back right now before I forget where it goes. And then bring this up. And there is this. And then I was going to put this on here. I'm going to let the strings all hang because I think it's sort of cute. But I'm going to put this up on Dimensionals. You could just adhere it if you wanted, but I thought some Dimensionals would be nice. It's not like we're mailing this. Well, you could be if you're putting it in a box. Just like that. I like the strings all hanging. This one needs to be trimmed just a little bit. Just a little bit closer. You know I like long bows. But you make them the way you want them. So here's the one we just made, and here is the first one. Little different, but almost the same. So thank you for joining me, and I will see you next week. And have a wonderful weekend, everyone. Goodbye.